So I got a comment from Sam on one of my videos recently, and he said, how can I become like a music artist or a rapper and talk about positive things? This is a really interesting question, because if you didn't already know, the music industry, and just like the media or film industry, Hollywood in general, is pretty corrupt. And not just corrupt, they have a narrative for whatever reason that they have to or want to enforce. And they do this through predictive programming and subliminal messaging, among other things, as well as in some cases just being completely out in the open about it. And so we're just going to dive straight into this one. Not going to hold back anything here, except what I kind of need to avoid being shut down on YouTube, right? So you have to understand that especially the music industry, when we listen to music, we take in ideas and thoughts and concepts subliminally. So when we listen to a certain type of music, even if it's just about a certain topic, let's say if it's a sad theme, a sad song, right? We will absorb that frequency or energy and become more sad. We will kind of mirror the feelings that we get from the song, and not the other way around. Most people assume that when you listen to a sad song, it sounds better when you're already sad. That's not the case. It's just a match for your vibration in that moment. So that's why it feels good to listen to a sad song when you're sad. The real trick here is to avoid sad or negative or violent music in general, because then you won't absorb that energy and you won't feel sad, right? It sounds pretty simple when you break it down, but a lot of people don't understand this. Now, the music industry, and this, by the way, this applies to anything in the media. So anything relating to film, TV especially, music, and focused more specifically on rap, but it applies to other genres as well. But it's much more obvious in rap because that's kind of the trending music of the day, and it's a lot easier to influence with money. So what you'll find is that almost all the time you see a rapper delivering a performance that's negative, right? There's violent themes, there's gang themes, it's all about, violence, and it's very hard to understand why somebody would even make music about that, because it's such a negative aspect of humanity to focus on that. It makes no sense. As, divine, compassionate human beings, it makes zero sense to focus on that, to make music about that. And it makes even less sense that millions of people would even listen to it. But they do, because the money, you've got to follow where the money goes, right? So the money comes down from big music down to the rappers, and then they tell them what to rap about. So if you've ever noticed things in rap videos, like the artist will kind of cover one eye, they'll do the triangle symbol, they'll, be all these different kinds of symbols and concepts that they will show you. It's a bit weird, don't you think, that so many rappers and music artists in general that seem disconnected, a lot of them at least, seem to show the same symbols. It's a bit weird, right? Well, not really, if you consider that that's where the money is coming from. The people that run the show, the music industry, Hollywood, film industry, whatever, they have an agenda and they use certain symbols to reflect that agenda. Almost like a kind of loyalty badge to show that you're in the club. The tricky thing is that most of the people in the music industry don't realize they're in the club. They just get told, you need to show this symbol. And they don't question it because, that's the people that are paying you. So when you see these rappers, covered in like gold jewelry, money, and then they also show this specific type of symbols. And I can't really say exactly what I mean, but I'm pretty sure you understand what I mean by this. And it doesn't have to be symbols. It can just be negative themes or focusing on negative aspects of humanity. The reason these tracks blow up is because they get promoted by YouTube and other big tech platforms that are in the club or, connected to the club and agenda. And that's why if you click on the trending tab on YouTube or, these other big platforms, it's not actually what's trending. It's what they are trying to make trend. And this is a really key thing to understand. The trending tab on YouTube now I'm talking about, it's not actually what's trending, right? The things that are trending are almost never on the trending tab. And instead what you see is these random like talk show clips. And you look at them and you think, it's only got 50,000 views. Most people dislike this clip. Why is it in the trending tab? Well, it's because they want to push an agenda and they want to force you to see a certain narrative. It's exactly the same with music. So when you see these new rappers come up and they all have these really weird, funny names like Lil Salami and Big, all these random rapper names, right? And you listen to them and very often there's little talent. It's like auto-tuned, it's random phrases that don't seem to make much sense. The music itself isn't usually very good. The music video is just a load of weird hand signs and holding your metal chain and stuff like this. And you wonder, why is this trending? Like, why are people listening to this? And it's because the platform or the people with the money are pushing the agenda. They're pushing the narrative. So to answer your original question, Sam, to succeed in the music industry talking about positive things is going to be a challenge, to be honest. There's very few rappers who are hugely successful who talk about positive things that empower humanity. And it's because the people running the show seem to have a kind of like a monopoly on this stuff. And the people with the real power decide, at least for the moment, or up until now, decide what tracks blow up and which ones don't. And it's as simple as that. That doesn't mean that you can't succeed talking about positive stuff. And there are, a handful of rappers and artists who do talk about positive and empowering things, but they are the exception. The majority of rappers get paid, basically, to rap about negative things. That's just the sad reality of the music industry. And because they have so much money and resources, they're able to push this and make sure that you listen to these people and this type of music. And, you wonder, why is this random new rap song from a rapper I've never heard about, who's, again, surprise, surprise, talking about gang violence or drugs or something like that? Why is that somehow on the trending tab and it only has 100,000 views? What's it doing there? There's no reason for it to be there. And like I said, it's just because they're pushing that type of music. They want you to listen to it. And the more times you listen to a song, no matter what the content of the song is, the more you'll like the song. It's a kind of a form of brainwashing. And so these songs that when you first heard them, you thought, what on earth is this? This sounds awful. Like the messaging here is rubbish. It's just making me feel bad. The music talent just isn't there. It seemed weird and random. But then as you listen to it 10, 50, 100 times, because they literally push it everywhere, then suddenly it catches, something, they call it a hook in the music industry. Like it's a hook because it latches onto a part of your brain where you want to listen to it again. And in many cases, the way they do this is by having like a really catchy melody. And then over the top of that melody, they'll put their own messaging. So if you strip away the lyrics, most of the rap and kind of hip hop songs, they do kind of sound good. They sound kind of catchy. But then it's when you put these really negative, aggressive, violent lyrics over the top of it, that's where we have a problem. And that's how they're able to do it. But to answer your question, you can succeed as a positive rapper, but you're going to have to focus intensely on building your own platform. The word I want to use is distribution, because it's no good just having a SoundCloud. It's no good just having a YouTube channel. You need to have a distribution network. You need to have an email list. You need to have a website. You need to be posting your content on as many platforms as you possibly can, so that if you get taken off of one platform, or if one platform doesn't really push you in the way that you want, you still have 15 other platforms. And on top of that, you're also building out connections and relationships with real other positive rappers. Maybe you do some collabs, and that's the biggest way, in my opinion, to grow. Because these things don't just apply to the music industry. This is stuff I've learned from growing channels and brands outside the music industry. You need your own distribution channels. If you focus on an algorithm, let's say YouTube or SoundCloud or whatever it is, Spotify, then you're going to be at the mercy of whoever controls that algorithm. And 9 times out of 10, they don't have your best interests at heart, and they don't even have the best interests of humanity at heart. But that being said, I would highly encourage you to pursue it, and because I think the world needs more positive music. But you're up against a pretty big challenge.